Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Living Beyond Limits and our Sunday service. And for those of you joining us online, I welcome you also. I'm so glad you are here with us today. And so let's start this service today by reading our mission statement that's on the front of your bulletin. We are a sanctuary where people can discover and reveal the presence of God within their own being and experience their oneness with all life. Through the realization of this inner presence of love and peace, we give way to the evolutionary impulse of the divine and become a beneficial presence in the world. So that's really what's happening here at Living Beyond Limits, is we are giving ourselves the opportunity to remember and to own our own spiritual nature. To remember that one infinite presence that we see expressing itself so easily through nature, that presence that is expressing itself in and through and around everything, expresses within us. And it expresses within us as the truth of our own wholeness, the truth of our own power, authentic power, as love and peace and goodness. But what happens, and lots of other things, but what happens is as we awaken to that truth, it puts us in a place of power and a place of choice. Because then when the world is not being loving or peaceful or generous, we aren't as reliant on it being that way in order for us to be that way. We can be the change we wish to see in the world. We can show up and be the presence of love and peace and goodness and share that with humanity. And as we do that, we actually become a beneficial presence in our own lives as well as a beneficial presence in this world. Because we are connected to everyone and everything, when we bring goodness and love and shine our light one place, it actually affects the whole. And so I say thank you for answering this call of your own spirit, to be walking this path and bringing your spirit into this world in a way that is absolutely beneficial. Thank you for that. Well, happy spring, everybody. Yay! If you don't know, spring started on Thursday. It's my absolute favorite season of the year. This is my favorite month of the year. The flowers start blooming. I have daffodils showing their sweet little faces in my yard, and California poppies blooming. My orange tree is covered in flowers, so when you walk out into my backyard, it smells like heaven. It's so wonderful. The trees are starting to leaf out, and the flowers are popping up, and the sun is setting later, and the days are getting warmer. And it looks like there's just new life bursting forth everywhere you look. I just love this. It seems to me it's like the earth is just singing and actually celebrating itself. Don't you like that idea? It's like the earth is celebrating all that it is. I love that. Spring has an energy that comes with it, an energy of newness and of possibility and of fresh starts. Spring has within it the air of promise to me and of optimism and anticipation of things to come. Spring reminds me that within everything there is a creative principle and there's a creative impulse to express and to expand and to grow. That principle of expansion and growth is actually at the core of every single thing that is alive. Reminds me that the very foundation of life itself is endless possibilities, is creative expression, and is boundless potential. There is new life and new growth everywhere, and that reminds me that we are never stuck. Things are never static in nature for very long, because underneath everything is this urge to express and expand and evolve and be more. You can see it in nature all around us. And you know what? It's not just in nature, it's in us as human beings. It's the very foundation of life itself. I read something this week that says, people who suffered blinding eye injuries had their sight restored using a new form of stem therapy. American surgeons took stem cells from the patient's healthy eye and transplanted them into the injured eye. successfully repairing previously irreversible damage. Isn't that awesome? That is that creative urge of the universe, of life itself, to express, to expand, to ever become more. I read this: in a twist for solar energy, a Filipino inventor has created resonance panels to harvest solar energy out of recycled vegetables. And it can work even when it's cloudy, rainy, or out of direct sunlight. It turns out that there are extremely sensitive chemicals in vegetables that turn UV light from the sun into visible light, which can in turn be used to generate electricity from photovoltaic cells made from upcycled vegetable waste. Unlike the bulky solar panels we all think of, these vegetable polymer sheets can be bent, molded, clamped into pretty much any shape. Furthermore, they don't need UV light to strike them directly, harvesting as plants do from the UV light through clouds. If placed on a roof entirely in a shadow, they can still generate energy if the UV light was bouncing off, say, a nearby skyscraper or field. That is life evolving, life expanding, life ever becoming more of what it is in potential. All of those things, as well as nature, can remind us that what is going on when it's something that we don't want to have going on in our lives, it can remind us that we aren't limited, that there is a potentiality. There are possibilities that are unseen that we haven't yet discovered. Despite things that are going on that aren't to your liking, things that aren't according to your preference, like you've lost a job, or maybe you're having a conflict in a relationship, or perhaps you're having challenges in your financial life, or disagreements with what's going on in the political arena. What happens is we can't see a way forward in those moments, so then we feel stuck. And when we feel stuck, then we sometimes feel hopeless. You know, you haven't yet found a job and you don't have any leads for a new job yet, so you start feeling nervous and you start getting really scared. Or you're having conflict in a relationship, you don't know how to resolve it, and because you don't know how to resolve it, you start feeling grief, and you start feeling sadness, and you start feeling helpless or hopeless. Or you don't know how to resolve the division that's going on in our country, or how to resolve the political things that you don't approve of and don't like. So you start feeling hopeless because you don't know the solution, you don't know the answers, so you start feeling hopeless about it. You just kind of give up and think there's no way forward. The problem really is, though, that we think that we are limited by whatever has happened in the past, or that we are limited by whatever is happening in the present moment. We forget that there is more than that. The problem is we don't believe in possibility. We forget about this thing called possibility. We haven't yet seen this solution or the answer. We don't yet know what it is, so we think maybe there isn't one, and therefore things are just going to remain the same as they are now. There's a story that I love. Says a fellow had a flat tire as he was driving down a country road. After finding he had no jack, he began walking, hoping to find a nearby farmer who would help him. It was getting dark, and the crickets were getting louder. As he walked the overgrown road, he began to throw dice of worry in his mind. What if the farmer's not home? What if he won't let me use his jack? What if he won't let me use his phone? What if he's frightened of me? I never did anything to him. Why won't he just let me use his phone? By the time he knocked on the farmer's door, my friend was so preoccupied with what could go wrong that when the friendly old man answered, my friend bellowed, "Well, you can just keep your damn jack." That's what we do. We make up this story, and because we have this story going in our heads, we think that it's real. We think it's reality. That idea that there is no solution to whatever the problem is just an idea that we've made up in our heads. We forget that everything is pregnant with possibility. We forget that everything is overflowing with a creative intelligence. We forget that creativity is the very nature of the universe. We forget that there is an infinite intelligence that is the source of everything and that is at the center of everything. And so the title of my talk today is Springing Forth. And I'm talking about that we can allow spring to remind us, to be a reminder that there are always new possibilities, that there is always unseen potential that fills every single moment and that is always ready to just spring forward. But there are certain conditions that are required in order for spring to come forward. It doesn't happen in the snow. It doesn't happen in the shortest days when it's dark the most. There are certain requirements that have to be present in order for all of that newness to come forward. So, spring can remind us that the nature of life is boundless creativity, creative expression, new possibilities. It reminds us of opulence, of never-ending renewal, but in order for life to spring forward and create something new, it must have the right conditions in us also. Just like it can't come forward in the snow, it can't come forward, all of those new ideas and possibilities, when we are worried, when we are concerned, when we are fretting, when we are focused on the negative, when we think it can't happen, when we think there isn't a solution. That's not the environment for creative ideas to come forward. We have to remember that our consciousness is the creative factor in our lives. So we do one of two things. We are either open to those new ideas, those new solutions and the way forward, because we are opening ourselves so that life can express in a fuller way through us, or we block that flow from coming into our lives through our lack of faith, through focusing on what we don't want, fretting, worrying, obsessing. Does anybody obsess over what's not working in the world? By believing that there is no possibility for resolution. Do you do that? Gosh. Here's the thing. We cannot hold two opposing thoughts at the same time. You can't hold on to it's never going to work out, and we're living in this field of infinite possibility. Ernest Holmes said, human limitation has no existence from the standpoint of divinity. Human limitation has no existence from the standpoint of spirit. There is no limitation in that infinite one, and we live in that infinite one, and it lives in us. There is no problem in the infinite, and we have access to that. Where does stem cell ideas come from? Where does creating solar panels out of vegetables come from? Ernest Holmes said, all possibilities of the infinite exist for us right now. There can never be any less. There can never be any more. One of the core concepts at Centers for Spiritual Living says, in the infinite nature of God, all conceivable good is eternally available, ready to flow into human experience. Through some cosmic process, this flow of good is activated and or increased by human belief, faith, and acceptance. We access that creative intelligence through knowing that it is present and available. We access it through looking to it, through standing in faith, through trusting, through having expectancy that there is a solution and that there is a way. We access that from listening within to our own inner guidance and our intuition, through listening in meditation to that which is beyond our monkey mind that just repeats the same thoughts over and over and over again. You know, they say 80% of what we think we've already thought before. Meditation gives you space for something new to come in. We access through being quiet, through journaling, through doing affirmative prayer, and simply through expecting that things will work out. That creates an opening within us. Those scientists thought there is a way. There was an expectancy that they were going to come up with a solution. There's a story by Reverend Scott Aubrey that says, when I was a kid, I had an aquarium, a 10-gallon freshwater aquarium in my bedroom. Guppies, angelfish, black mollies, little scavenger catfish. I would look into the tank from the end and then from the front. From the two perspectives, the fish looked to be doing two different things. They were the same, they just appeared to be different, separate, because I was seeing them one-dimensionally from two different perspectives. There was a more complex dimension in the aquarium and everything in it that I couldn't see while I was looking through just one glass. Have you had that experience? You look through the end of an aquarium and it looks entirely different than when you look through the front of it? There was a deeper reality. There was a deeper level of reality that I couldn't perceive with my one-dimensional view. Quantum physicists tell us that the universe is like that. The universe itself is a projection, a hologram, and the apparent separateness of subatomic particles is an illusion. At a deeper level of reality, all things in the universe are infinitely connected. It's about perspective. It's about what we are looking, where we are looking from, what we are looking for. It's all about perspective, what it is that we see or don't see. I know that we all want to know that our heartfelt desires are possible. We want to know that when things in our lives are happening in ways that we do not want, that we are not stuck with what we don't want. We want to know that regardless of what's going on, there is a way forward, irregardless of what's happening. And you know what? We can be sure that we are never stuck. We can be sure that we are never stuck because the nature of life itself is creative expression that is always unfolding and evolving itself and becoming more and more of what it is. Life is always seeking to express in a greater way. We can know that we are never stuck because our heartfelt desires that we feel are the way that life speaks to us. It's the way that life says, go this way. Our heartfelt desires are the way the universe calls us into our greatest life, into our fullest and most expansive way of being in the world. Those heartfelt desires call us to be more and to experience more. Ernest Holmes said, "The will of God is always toward that which expresses life and happiness. always. And so if something enables us to feel happy, if something enables humanity to be happy, if something enables us or humanity to experience greater love or more peace or more unity or more beauty, we can be assured that the entire universe is in support of that. So if your wish and your longings are for something expansive, for more unity in this country, to experience greater wholeness, to have more love being made real, the whole universe supports that. That is it desiring through you. The gift has already been made. It's already present. It's just awaiting our opening to it. We open to it through belief, through focus, through acceptance, through anticipation. So our job then is to remind ourselves that we are not stuck, that we are never stuck because we are imbued with creative intelligence, creative potential. We are imbued with a creativity and a potential because we are imbued with the living Spirit inside every one of us. And so I'd love to take you through a short meditation. And so I invite you to close your eyes and within yourself, this is by Joel Goldsmith, close your eyes and within yourself, silently, sacredly, secretly, and gently say the word I. I. That I in the midst of you is mighty. That I in the midst of you is greater than any problem in the outside world. That I in the midst of you is come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. That I has been with you since before Abraham was, awaiting your recognition and your acknowledgement. When you admit that I into your consciousness, you have admitted life eternal, the bread of life, the water of life, and the wine of life. You have admitted into your consciousness the power of resurrection, the resurrection of your body, your home, your marriage, your fortune, and your business. Only when you admit I into your consciousness do you admit into yourself the secret of life. When you acknowledge that the I in the midst of you is mighty, you are not speaking of a man or of any person. You are speaking of the I. I. And so I invite you to go ahead and open your eyes. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him and eat with him, and him with me. It just takes our opening to that something greater. So my invitation to you this week is to remember that that living Spirit, that boundless potential of the universe is right where you are. to remember that that presence is within you and around you. It is within all of humanity, and it is present in every single moment, in every single situation. And so look to spring all around you to remind yourself that there is a force, a renewing force that is ever present, a creative intelligence that is within all things, and that everything is imbued with that. And as we lean into that, and as we look to that and trust in that, then we open ourselves and allow ourselves for the perfect way forward to reveal itself, for the perfect solutions and the answers to be made known inside of us. We make way for the perfect solution, the perfect answer, and for divine right action to take place. In turn, we will not just be creating a world that works for us, which we will be doing, but we will also be creating a world that enables everybody to thrive. You will know that the good that you desire is not only possible, but it is actually yours for the taking. And so blessings to every single one of you on this path of spirit, this path of bringing your own spirit into this world, of remembering who you are and what you are, of bringing that nature of life forward in a way that is beneficial to the whole. Blessings to all of you. And so I invite you to join me in an affirmative prayer as we turn our attention to the capital T truth that the presence of Spirit is omnipresent, that one infinite beingness whose center is everywhere and circumference is nowhere is a presence of peace. It is a presence of boundless creativity. It is a presence of absolute intelligence and good without bound. It expresses itself as beauty and as unity, as creative ideas and solutions and answers. And right now, it is expressing itself everywhere in this country, everywhere in this world. It is revealing itself within every single mind and every single heart. For in it, there is no limitation. There are only creative ideas and solutions and ways that work for the whole, ways that work for all. And so I know right now that that presence is leading and guiding each one of us into our best life. That whatever we have been holding as a, quote, problem, right now the solution is downloading itself within our minds. That there is a way forward, there is a solution, for we live in infinite potentiality. A presence that can create the entire cosmos out of itself can surely resolve this tiny human problem. For in God there are only solutions, there are only answers. And so today we lean into that. We open our hearts and our minds in trust and in faith that this is true. We open ourselves so that we might hear something that is beyond our egoic perspective, so that we might hear the voice of the I within us, the I that is boundless, the I that permeates all things. And so we listen for that. And as we open ourselves and listen, a blessing is poured out into our lives and into this entire world. And so it is with a grateful heart that I release this prayer into that creative law of the universe, knowing that it acts like a mirror and reflects right back to us what we place our attention on and what we believe. And so we fan the flames of our belief and remind ourselves of the truth. And I release this prayer in gratitude, and I say, and so it is. And so I do have a few invitations for you. One is next week. We will not be here. We are doing an in-reach/outreach at Shakey's Pizza, Straw Hat Pizza. Sorry about that. Oh, I didn't put the address on here. The address will be on Facebook. It will be on Meetup. Jerry can give it to you today, actually. It's on Spring Street, Spring and Palo Verde, Straw Hat Pizza. We're meeting there at 11 o'clock. We are making paper flowers and cards for Mother's Day for the women who are living at Long Beach Women's Shelter right now, and having lunch together. So we invite you to come and show up for that and bring someone if you want to. I think, Pat, you have a sign-up sheet, Pat? Yeah, there's a sign-up sheet. They just need to know how many people are coming so they make sure to have enough supplies for everybody. So if you're planning to attend, please sign up so that they know you're coming. Oh, and bring scissors. And glue guns if you have a glue gun. If you have a glue gun, bring it. I have a glue gun you can use too. So if you haven't been here, if you are interested in going on a women's retreat, we are having a retreat in July 17th to the 19th. If you would like to go, we would love to have you. It will be lots of spiritual practice kind of things. We will do some fun, I'm sure some craft kind of stuff, sit by the fire outside and be in nature and maybe go out on the boat on the lake, and it should be really fun. I would love to have you. If you would like to go, will you please sign up today? I talked with Lorraine Taylor, who owns the retreat center, and she wants a commitment this week. So I want to know who's coming, and if you sign up and have changed your mind, to make sure to cross your name out so I have an idea of who's coming, but it should be really fun. Our Sunday talks get posted. They're usually out on Monday night or Tuesday morning. We invite you to follow us on Facebook, to check in on Meetup and say that you're coming, to follow us on Instagram. We have prayer support after service. The practitioners are happy to sit down and pray with you. And we are also in the process of redoing our directory that has everyone's contact information. If you are not in our directory and you would like to be, we would love to have you. If we do not have your current correct contact information, we would like to have you do that too. I'll put the sign up on the back sheet, on the back table. I have it if you haven't. And Sally Allen, I know I don't have your correct address, so I need to get it from you today. So that's it for those invitations. And so I invite you to repeat after me, good fills my life now. Good fills my life now. I recognize it. I savor it. I own it. I live it. And so it is.